Do you want to see it?
Yeah. Okay, now, Mr. Harper, it's okay, we're back on the record in clause number 325-122. Now, Mr. Harper, it looks like your probation, it comes down to monthly installments. Is that 145?
Yeah, but then.
Then it's gonna come,
Right.
they took out 1,000 and some, so it's gonna be much lower than this here. So your probation officer will, inform you, as, it'll be lower than the 145 per month.
Right.
Okay, all right. Now, we're on the record, in cause number 327480, the state of Texas versus Geraldo De Leon Jr. Mr. De Leon, would you please raise your right hand? Mr. De Leon, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. De Leon, you may put your hand down. How are you doing, Mr. De Leon?
Doing all right.
That's good. Mr. De Leon, the information in this case in clause number 327-480 alleges that on or about February 26th of 2020, while you are operating a motor vehicle in a public place in Jefferson County, Texas, that you committed the Class A misdemeanor offense of driving while intoxicated with alcohol concentration of 0.15 or more. Mr. De Leon, do you understand what you've been charged with? And to this charge, Mr. De Leon, how do you plead? Guilty, not guilty, or no contest? Now, Mr. De Leon, are you pleading no contest freely and voluntarily? And are you pleading no contest because you do not wish to fight or contest the charges? Mr. De Leon, I'm gonna show you what has been marked as State's Exhibit number 1, the misdemeanor plea admonishment. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
On page 2 of the same document, Mr. De Leon, are these your initials on the line that says nolo contendere, which means no contest?
Yes.
And on page 3 of the same document, Mr. De Leon, is that your signature above the line that says defendant?
Yes.
I have another document here. This document is titled the Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on the line that says defendant?
Yes.
There are 2 boxes that's checked at the top of this document. The first box states that this is a plea bargaining case and you have no right of appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
The second box states that you're waiving, which means you're giving up your right to an appeal. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I have another document here. This document is titled the Discovery Certification. Do you recognize this document?
Yes.
And is this your signature on this document?
Yes.
Now, prior to signing and initialing these documents, did your attorney, Ms. Perazzo, go over these documents with you?
Yes.
And did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes.
Did you read and understand everything in these documents?
Yes.
And is everything in these documents true and correct to the best of your knowledge?
Yes.
State, I have before me State's Exhibit number 1. State, you like to offer States 1?
Yes, Your Honor, and I'd also like to offer State's Exhibit number 2. That's the probable cause affidavit for this case.
Ms. Perazzo, you have any objections? Okay, no objections. State's Exhibits number 1 and State's Exhibit number 2 will be admitted.
I'll have to do another one, I'm sorry.
Oh, you can just use some white out.
Or, yes, I don't know what I was thinking. Please.
Come here, I don't know what I'm doing.
Y'all never make mistakes?
Yeah, I had some, I don't know. You have some?
I don't. I think it's. I'll just do another one.
She was just gonna change the date.
Oh, you can, well, it looks kind of brittle scratch. Let me just do a whole nother.
Okay. Okay, now, Mr., I'll do this here again, Mr. De Leon, you recognize this certification? Okay, and prior to signing and initialing this document, your attorney went over this document with you, is that correct?
Yes.
All right,
Your Honor, I forgot to put the cause number on the very top. I just did it, on the page, so I can do it.
here you go. Okay, now, Ms. Ferrazzo, you've advised and counseled Mr. De Leon, is there any evidence that he is currently mentally incompetent to stand trial?
No, Your Honor.
Mr. De Leon, your attorney, Ms. Ferrazzo, has advised and counseled you. Are you satisfied with her representation?
Yes.
Has she provided full, effective, and competent legal representation?
Yes.
Mr. De Leon, I will accept your plea of no contest. I will find that you are mentally competent to stand trial. I will also find that your plea and waivers were freely and voluntarily given. I also find that there is sufficient evidence to find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. State, do we have a plea bargain agreement?
Yes, Your Honor. It's for 1 year to be probated over 2 years, a $500 fine, 100 hours community service, a DWI education course, drug and alcohol assessment, and interlock.
That's our understanding of the agreement, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, Mr. De Leon, the state is offering that you serve 1 year in the Jefferson County Jail. However, you not have to serve any time in the Jefferson County Jail because you'll be placed on probation for 2 years. During the 2-year probationary period, you'll be required to pay a fine of $500 and court costs of $417. And the fine and court costs comes to a total of $917. You will also be required to reimburse the county for the court-appointed attorney's fees of $250. And you'll be required to pay a DWI education class, an initial evaluation fee of $150 on the day of the plea. And if a further evaluation is needed, you'll be required to pay $50. Now, the total monthly installments that you would have to pay is $150 per month. Would you be able to pay the excuse me? Oh, it's $130 per month. Would you be able to pay the $130 per month monthly installment?
Yes.
All right. Now, Mr. De Leon, you will also be required to perform 100 hours of community service. You'll also be required to attend the DWI education class and the drug and alcohol assessment. You will also be required to install an interlock device on any vehicle that you own or operate, and you would have to adhere to the standard terms and conditions of probation. Mr. De Leon, do you understand the state's offer?
Yes.
And do you think that the state's offer is fair and just?
Yes.
And do you accept the state's offer?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. De Leon, I'll follow the plea bargain agreement that you've entered into with the state. Please stand over here on the X. You're gonna follow the directions of the clerk. And Mr. De Leon, have a good day.
Thank you,
All
Your
right, you have a
Honor.
good day as well, Mr. Ferrazzo.
Thank you.